Hey guys, I couldn't sleep very much last night because of this whole Minneapolis thing, and I was up all night figuring out. I got to do something. I know my viewership's not that high, but I can't just stand by and let the left do another summer of love. So I tabbed a whole bunch of links I want to go over. I understand there might not be very many viewers because it's 6 a.m. Pacific time right now. Oh, we got two. Um, I got some complaints last time about the audio issues. So what happened is I was playing it on my speakers and my microphone was picking up the audio, but the microphone does noise cancellation, so the audio seemed kind of bad. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually sharing the Google tab, so the audio is directly piped into StreamYard. Unfortunately, every time I go to a new tab, it's a pain in the ass. I have to close the tab and share it again. So I'm asking that you guys be patient. So the first thing I want to go over is this video. It's not Minneapolis, but it's Ottawa. Let me play this.
I just want to get a coffee, okay?
Why is the camera in my face right now? Are you here partaking?
You walk
right
up
now.
to
You're
me.
in the red zone.
I'm scared. I want to go for a coffee down there. Can I go
where's
for
your
a coffee?
still be?
This is what I'm talking about. The way that Canadian, and by the way, if there's audio issues or if you can't hear the audio, let me know and I'll fix it. The way Canadian police officers talk to Canadian citizens is completely different from the way the Americans do it. Look at this guy. Like, where are you from? The other guy's like, you don't have a right to be here. I'm going to contrast that with the ICE officers moving forward.
Arrested right now. Live in this? You're not excluded
here,
from that.
But I'm.
Where do you live?
Alberta.
Time for you to leave.
There, it's time for you to leave. Look at the caption. Here is Donald Trump's Gestapo terrorizing citizens all across the country. Just kidding. That was Justin Trudeau's Gestapo terrorizing the citizens of Canada in the name of COVID and science. Where are you from? Alberta. It's time to leave. Mind you, this is contrast that with ICE. Like with ICE, they're ramming their vehicles. They're blocking them. They're screaming at them. They got whistles. They're blowing whistles. And they're impeding an investigation. This woman's just going for coffee.
I can't even go down there for coffee.
No, go grab yourself in the red zone right now. If you don't leave right now, you will be arrested. Do you understand me?
I can't go for a coffee.
Grab yourself, because if we see you, we'll be patrolling all day. We see you again, it'll be different.
We see you again, it'll be different. That's like how I used to threaten people when I was in high school. You know, like you're talking to the other guys from the other high school. Like, there's gonna be trouble, boy. You're in the wrong neighborhood.
Leave. I tell you, take your camera and get out of here. Do you understand that?
I'm walking away.
Walk away. Your phone doesn't need to be in our face when you're
Your phone doesn't need to be in our face.
walking away. Go.
Are
Are you gonna walk, or are you gonna get arrested?
I was
Go
walking
now.
away.
Get out of here.
These guys are like gangsters. Straight up.
Oh my goodness. Hope you can go to sleep at night.
I'm just gonna quickly. Oh, man, I wish I had a producer. I'm just gonna go to X and make sure the audio is working well. Let's bring up this live. Yep, it seems like the audio is working well. I got nobody in the comments complaining, but there's only 7 people watching. Yeah, so that was the first one. So here we go. Pain in the ass time. Close that. Share this tab again. The struggle is real. This is from Michael Schellenberger, and I've been saying this for a while now. It's apparent to me what the left is doing is they're whipping up their base into a frenzy, knowing, expecting, anticipating, hoping that somebody will get hurt. Ideally, somebody will get shot. And eventually you'll get a case where ICE does something where it is legitimately ICE's fault. So with these two individuals, this woman, I'm sorry, but if you try to run over a law enforcement officer and you get shot, all death is a tragedy, but it's a legitimate act on the part of the law enforcement officer. You can't run him over. Some people are saying that the law enforcement officer should not have been in front of the vehicle. Maybe not. Maybe you could train them better, but in my opinion, that's like a minor issue. If I see a cop in front of me, even if the cop's not by regulation supposed to be in front of me, I'm not going to run him over. I'm not going to be like, oh, look, he's violating his regulations. With this guy, he was there to impede an investigation. He got into altercation with the police. He had a firearm. I understand legally you can do that. I always carry a pocket knife with me everywhere I go. If I'm in Ottawa and I have a pocket knife, I'm not going to get involved with the police. That's just, it's common sense. And I wouldn't, even with or without the gun, you should not get involved with the police. And then, he got tragically killed. My point is, next time, you guys not going to have a gun. It might be some old lady. They accidentally shoot her in the back of the head. That's what the Democrats are hoping for. So Michael Schellenberger kind of addressed this. There's another one. I hope I can find that one. Most of the debate since yesterday has focused, understandably, on whether the ICE agent acted in what he perceived to be self-defense. Whatever the case, it's clear that by encouraging people to interfere in law enforcement operations, the left is getting people killed. You'll see this theme coming up. What he's talking about is that they're pushing Trump towards invoking the Insurrection Act. I think this has to do with Minnesota, the fraud in the Somali fraud in the daycares. Tim Walz is facing, losing his seat, and if he loses his seat, he could be arrested, indicted. And same thing with Ilhan Omar, and we'll go over that. But Obama's getting involved, Clinton's getting involved. All right, let's see what we got next. Let's close this puppy. Damn, I wish I had the Michael Schellenberger one. Let's play this video.
Former President Obama, in his 8 years, deported over 3 million people. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would have to see who it was he was deporting.
60% were people who had committed crimes, and the other 40% were people that had just simply come across the border. They hadn't.
Illegally?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and he sent them away after they applied for immunity, or
No, his administration was just deporting people off the streets. In fact, wow, sorry, it's loud here. In fact, local police would work with the administration.
Okay, so there's two things. The word she's looking for is when she says, removing them legally or something, is due process. This is their talking point. They're trying to paint this picture that ICE is operating outside of the law somehow, and then you'll see a theme. The other thing is that the guy mentioned, ICE under Obama was working with local police officers. This is the problem. It's the sanctuary cities. And the sanctuary cities, the reason that they exist is the other underlying problem, which is this woman. And then I wrote something. It's difficult to have a discussion with people when they are expressing their views because what they say is different from what they mean. So it's pointless to pick it apart. Like, this guy is trying to pick apart her argument, saying, well, what Donald Trump is doing, Obama did, thinking that he can convince her that it's what Trump is doing is correct. But he's missing the point. She supports illegal immigration. It's like a child throwing a temper tantrum, saying to his mom how daddy is way cooler and let them have ice cream whenever he wants. Then the mom busts out a graph, showing the incidents of her allowing the child to have ice cream versus the dad. The kid, what the kid's really saying is, I want ice cream. Everything else is just noise. So this woman, what she's saying is, I want leftism. I want whatever I have in my lifestyle in the cities. I want that. And supporting illegals and illegal immigration gets her there. Cheaper labor, you can have your grass mowed for cheaper. You can have your fruit picked for cheaper. You can have your bathroom cleaned for cheaper. What I'm trying to say, it's a slave labor force, right? Like these, out of sight, out of mind. But as long as you got these, brown and black people coming in and Asian people, and they're doing all the dirty work, this woman, she thinks she's doing the right thing by supporting illegal immigration. Well, I guess we can finish.
After giving them citations for speeding tickets and things like that, and would end up helping facilitate deporting them.
Okay, well, I see a definite difference in what was going on in the Biden administration to what's happening with the Trump administration.
This was Obama, but
Obama.
and why do you think there was a difference?
Because I don't think there was this craziness in the streets.
Due process. What she's talking about is due process. They've painted an image on the left that ICE is operating outside of the law. And because local law enforcement's not cooperating, so they have to go do the work that local law enforcement would usually do. And then ICE protesters get in their way and they obstruct their ability to do due process. And they painted this picture that ICE is like going around doing all these arrests, you know, like sweeping net, just grabbing random people off the street. And it's not just the left. I've heard people on the right fall into this trap as well. Let's see what we got next. Actually, this is the same one. But what I wanted to point out is that the citizen journalists, they're doing a really good job. People have kind of learned after the summer of love that you can't just leave this in the hands of the left. They're absolutely lawless. I was on a space yesterday, and the guy, he basically said, paraphrased the expression, the Democrats are playing full contact football while the Republicans are playing badminton. You can't win that war. You just can't. Like, they are violating the law. Just look at what they're doing in Minneapolis versus what we did with the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. We followed the law. We got our asses kicked. We got our bank accounts frozen. We got our property seized. And they're still dragging people through the courts. 4 people got held in remand for 3 years. That's the price you pay for following the law. Whereas on the left, they are violating federal law. They're inciting an insurrection, like what Obama and Clinton are doing. They're calling for massive rioting in the streets to block federal law enforcement agents. And Tim Walz is fully behind this. They're telling their law enforcement to stand down. You got signal groups organizing, coordinating. They're asking people to impede investigations from law enforcement officers, and they're getting away with it. This is an asymmetric war. It is a war, and I'll get to that as well. Here we go. This is Michael Schellenberger's, I believe the video, it's 6 minutes long. I'm guessing he's just going over this. I'll read this somewhat quickly. A federal immigrations and customs enforcement agent, ICE, in Minnesota shot a second person dead today. Most of the debate since has been focused, understandably, on whether the ICE agent acted in what he perceived to be self-defense. Whatever the case, it's clear that by encouraging people to interfere in law enforcement operations, the left is getting people killed. This is what I've been saying. Videos show both victims, Renee Good and Alex Preedy, impeding law enforcement operations, which progressive nonprofits, Democrats, and liberal influencers have been encouraging for months. This is lawlessness. They're encouraging illegal behavior, knowing that something bad is going to happen. And now, when I said this is a war, this would be like if you send in the U.S. Marines for peacekeeping operations, and then the local population doesn't want them there, and they find themselves, trying to enforce laws that the people don't agree with. This is what it feels like. We'll get to more videos later, but I just want to mention that. Good drove her vehicle perpendicular to block traffic while her partner taunted ICE officers. This is a very good point. Like, her partner should also be arrested. In fact, anytime you have ICE operations, they should just have like a school bus following these officers. Anybody impedes the investigation, they should be arrested. When was the last time anybody in the audience impeded a law enforcement investigation? It would have to be something extreme, like they're coming to arrest you and your mother is, begging and screaming, but not just random people off the streets trying to impede a law enforcement officer for arresting Payman Asghari for being drunk while driving. Preedy intervened at least twice, first by waving traffic through on the street, and again as an ICE officer sought to subdue another person and interfering in the operation, triggering the agent to use pepper spray against him. This is just, it's absurd. I don't know how the left got control of the media again. Donald Trump defunding USAID, it really helped to shut the left down, because 2016, when Trump got in, the media was a joke. It was like a Joseph Goebbels propaganda instrument through and through. There was no legitimacy. And now they've managed to somehow come back and convince people, not just on the left, but on the right, that ICE. I talk to people on the right that think that, Kristi Noem is just picking up random people, plain clothes, putting them in ICE, zero training, going around clubbing people, illegally kidnapping them, arresting. Like that's not what's happening. They're trying to execute the law, and they're not getting any assistance from local law enforcement, and they're getting impeded by the local population. That's what's happening. Now, I understand covering their face is probably not helping, but I don't know what the argument in support of that is. Probably that they would, their lives would be threatened, which there might be some truth to that. In saying this, I am not defending the decisions and behaviors of the ICE officers or anyone else. The killings are a tragedy, and there is a worthwhile debate underway over ICE tactics. Same thing, the tactics, separate from the specific behaviors of good and pretty. The problem I have is, even if you remove the face masks, the coverings, and you give them absolutely 100% perfect bulletproof training, they're the best law enforcement agency in America. At some point, they're going to make another mistake. When you have this many civilians getting in your way, this many protesters, it's only a matter of time. You have protesters jumping on their cars. Like, this is abnormal behavior. Like, how could you say that the ICE agents aren't trained well enough? Like, how do you train ICE agents to, when civilians are jumping on the front of your car, and you don't have local law enforcement coming in to arrest those civilians? Like, what are they supposed to do? We don't know what was in the minds of good and pretty specifically, but Democrats, progressives, and anti-ICE activists have for years called ICE and the Trump administration fascist and compared them to Nazis. Yep, they're still doing it. On January 19th, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called ICE Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo. They're going for another summer of love. Somehow Donald Trump has to nip this in the bud. Last year in California, Governor Gavin Newsom signed legislation to block ICE from hiding its identities. Again, this is one of those things that's giving a lot of ammunition to the left. So they have to figure out something to do about this as well. The Los Angeles mayor called them a reign of terror. Yeah, you're the goddamn reign of terror, man. Taxing citizens for leaving your crap state, back taxing them, that's a reign of terror. And a few days ago, the lieutenant governor of Minnesota urged citizens to put your body on the line to block ICE protesters. Again, I say this. We did everything by the book. We did everything lawfully, legally, peacefully in Ottawa, and we got our asses kicked. These guys, they have political support telling them to be martyrs, and they have legal immunity. Like, these people don't go to jail, but Tamara Leach and Chris Barber, they're still being dragged through the court system. Oh, maybe it's over now. Waltz and other Democrats have blocked state and local law enforcement from working with ICE. This is what I'm talking about, which has contributed to increasingly risky behavior by anti-ICE activists like Good and Pretty, and thus growing danger to everyone involved. There was no Minneapolis police visible in the videos of the Good and Pretty deaths. Yeah, these sanctuary cities are the problem, and the sanctuary cities exist because of liberal-minded people who support, illegal immigration. When I say liberal and when I say left, I'm talking about the urban centers. Take whatever they believe in these cities, just slap a left label on it. That's what I mean. And many of America's largest progressive cities and states are all openly defiant of federal law. Yeah, they're heading towards civil war, declaring themselves sanctuaries that protect illegal migrants from the federal government. This concept of sanctuary cities is wrong. Donald Trump put out a post that will go over it. He's asking Congress to bait Congress or the courts to make it illegal. He lists all of these states and cities, or sanctuary cities. And the underlying problem is that for decades, schools, Hollywood, and the media have made clear that we should risk and even sacrifice our own lives to stop fascism and Nazism. And yet neither ICE raids nor Trump are fascist, and it is offensive to compare them to Nazis. I don't understand where Michael Schellenberger comes from. It's very rare that you see somebody that's this reasonable, this level-headed. The Nazis rounded up Jewish citizens and shipped them to death camps. ICE, by contrast, is detaining foreigners who the government believes committed criminal offenses beyond coming to the U.S. illegally. No nation in the world has allowed more people to enter illegally, nor has any treated them with greater due process than the U.S. is doing. Yeah, this is that phrase again, due process. But they're trying to craft this narrative that ICE is doing something illegally, is operating outside of the law. And I stress this: it is not just applying to the people on the left, the people in the urban centers, these anti-ICE protesters. There's people on the right that believe that that ICE is doing this too, behaving outside the law. The American people elected Trump president, like it or not, and the Constitution's Supremacy Clause in Article 6 establishes the federal law prevails over conflicting state or local laws and ensures the Constitution, federal statutes, and treaties are the supreme law of the land. ICE raids may be bad politics, but there's no question that they are constitutional. While some Democrats and progressives know their language is hyperbolic, half of the individuals surveyed told protesters last year that Trump is a fascist. Such radical beliefs appear to have partly motivated the 2 assassination attempts against Trump and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. While the radical left has for decades called its political opposition fascist, these views were until recently marginal views, even within the Democrat Party. Moreover, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Bernie Sanders, and Hillary Clinton all spoke out against illegal migration until 2016. I wonder what changed. So what changed? Why did so many Americans come to view a democratically elected president and law enforcement operations as equivalent to fascism? What radicalized the left? Part of the answer is bad information. Many progressives believe ICE is simply sweeping up hardworking and law-abiding immigrants and do not know that 64% of the immigrants detained since Trump took office had a criminal convictions or pending charges, in addition to having broken the law by entering and working in the country without a visa. This is it right here. Most progressives believe ICE is simply sweeping up hardworking, law-abiding migrant immigrants. I talked to a lot of Democrats in the U.S., and this is the key question you have to ask them. When you start talking to them, they'll talk about how this one guy, poor Mexican, he's been working in California, San Francisco for 25 years, and they went to his restaurant, they arrested him, his daughter was crying. And I'm like, yeah, that's first of all, I don't know if that happened. Secondly, he's here illegally. I'm sorry. But third, that guy that came here 25 years ago is not part of the 50 million that came in the last few years. So the question you have to ask him is, do you support what Joe Biden did in bringing in 50 million people illegally? And, they'll either not answer it or they'll tell the truth, how they believe, which is, yes, I support it. I guess they think immigration is a human right. They've been listening to the UN. For some, labeling Trump as a fascist was simply a political tactic and not something they believed, but many others believe it, as the polling data shows. Many people, both liberals and conservatives, believe progressives like Good and Pretty are acting out of empathy and sympathy for migrants. But if they are, it is purely ideologically driven, not from any real-world understanding of migrant communities. Few of the white progressives protesting ICE have ever spoken more than a few words to much less gotten to know illegal immigrants. Even those who work for them as cleaners, cooks, and gardeners, much less come to understand their law. They're just slaves, and it's virtue signaling. They don't care about these people. All right, let's see, what do we got next? Oh, here we go. This one I can talk a little less on this one. This guy's talking about. So this woman, I guess, posted this picture to everyone complaining about living in Canada. You know what? At least you can go peacefully protest in the streets and you don't have to worry about getting eliminated. Rest in peace. And then this guy responds.
With all due respect, what are you talking about?
Whoops. Sorry about that.
With all due respect, what are you talking about? We went to Ottawa to protest this government. They trampled us with horses. They pepper sprayed us. They beat us with batons. Then they canceled our bank accounts and they seized property that they had no business seizing. The government was ruled against by the courts for invocating the Emergencies Act. And it's this same government that the people are upset with. And you don't understand why?
The guy says it perfectly. We went there. We did everything by the book. And we got our asses kicked. We got our money stolen, frozen bank accounts. It's like a seizure. Property stolen, thrown in jail, pepper sprayed. One lady got trampled. I don't remember the left giving a damn then, and that was a peaceful protest. So the lesson that I'm taking away from this is, if you follow the law, you will lose. If you violate the law, evidently you'll get your way. Yeah, Elon Musk is talking about the Waltz administration runs Minnesota as a political patronage machine. What's happened is Trump has backed them into a corner, and we kind of all saw this coming. Where we kept saying to Trump, like, where the hell are the indictments? Like, you got to move quick, buddy. USAID gave him some runway, but now they've made their move. So Tim Waltz, millions or maybe billions of dollars fraudulently, he's been stealing through these Somali NGOs. And then now former President Clinton came out and supported and calling for an insurrection. Obama's coming out calling for an insurrection. I think this is their last effort to win the midterms. And I think Trump messed up. Like, he should have arrested these guys before. Now, like, how are you going to arrest them in the middle of an insurrection, in the middle of a riot? It's just the optics are going to look even worse. So, way to go, Trump. Yeah, while it's a good thing you were bombing Iran and you were kidnapping Maduro, and you're gallivanting all over the world to try to get a Nobel Peace Prize when you should be arresting these people at home. Let's see what the Real Social Credit is writing. I am opposed to illegal immigration anywhere and believe that immigration laws should be enforced, but ICE trains with the IDF and is sometimes using tactics that are totally unnecessary and unjustifiable. If they wanted to solve the problem, there were far more effective. Okay, well, the IDF thing, I've heard this before, and I think Scott Ritter said it. He said, like, it's the Israelification of American law enforcement. I'm not too sure about that. I'm not a big supporter of Israel because I just think they're an arm of the globalists and the Western Empire. But every time somebody attacks Israel, it says some variation of the Jews are behind everything. I kind of wonder if it's it's accurate or not. The second thing, if they want to solve the problem, there are far more effective methods available, which would generate much less friction. I believe this is problem reaction solution, and the powers that be are trying to induce civil unrest. Okay, so if they want to solve the problem, there are far more effective methods available. I don't want to disagree with you outright. Maybe there are. Maybe this was a bad way to deal with it. But the question I would ask, and needs to be asked, what is the solution? If law enforcement's not cooperating with you, you got sanctuary cities. And if you can't go in with federal law enforcement and arrest these people, what other alternative is there? You're basically, if Trump doesn't do this, if he doesn't accomplish this mission, then you're giving carte blanche to every future Democrat administration to bring in illegal immigrants. And next time it won't be 50, it'll be 100, 150. Something has to be done. And I'm not saying I fully disagree with you. Maybe this is a different strategy, but what is that strategy? I believe this is a problem reaction solution, and the powers that be are trying to induce civil unrest, civil war. This is not an ideological or partisan matter. Both parties. I've heard this as well. I hope you're wrong. I think what you're saying is Joe Biden, like somebody said, all right, let's get one president to bring in 50 million illegally so that the next president goes in with clubs and starts beating the people and causes civil unrest. I hope you're not right, because if you are, then I don't know how you deal with that. Hey, Tim, a religion doesn't make you corrupt. Greed does. Ideology does. Power does. Yeah, sure. Great advice. If you want to tell me how that ties into this, I'll bring your comment up again. But thanks for tuning in. Let's see. What do we got next? If anybody's just tuning in right now, I couldn't sleep last night. This is really driving me crazy. I can't go to another Biden administration, and I can't handle another summer of love. It's a spit in the face of every Canadian that went to Ottawa and did everything lawfully to watch these Democrats in these left cities violating the law and getting away with it. And they're making progress in ways that we didn't, and I can't live like that. There's this other issue. I mean, I don't know too much about it, but apparently there was a signal group, and they're coordinating their efforts. I'm not going to go over the details because I don't, who knows what's real anymore. But it seems like there was a signal group, and they're coordinating their efforts, and it's pretty obvious. We'll go through the videos, and you'll see this isn't just random grassroots protesters. They've been trained on how to protest. Here's another one. I hate having to share the screen every time. Breaking, at least 2 Democrat Minnesota state officials and a campaign advisor to Tim Walz have been identified as admins and dispatchers in a now leaked signal group chat that used to stalk and impede federal immigration operations in the state. So we're going to get to Obama in a bit, and Obama just put out a letter which is inciting riots, essentially. And Obama got his start as a community organizer. His job was to go around and harass people. I mean, peacefully protest, but if they didn't get in line, then they would go around, harass people, and they just protest their businesses until they finally agreed. This is nothing new. This is how the Democrats operate. God, what was it? Professor Brown? Horowitz, David Horowitz, who recently passed away. He was on the left, and he was helping the Black Panthers until something horrific happened. So he switched over to the right, and he goes, the first thing he asks when he gets to the right, he's like, where are the stormtroopers? Like, where are the boots on the ground? The right doesn't have that, but the left does. They have this mobilized army. Today, we just call them Antifa. But here's another example. This isn't Antifa, but this is a highly organized mob, and they're shipping them around. I swear there was another video I had. Man, I really suck at this. It's like 4 trillion tabs that are open. Where the hell are you? Oh, I can see the preview of the tab. Oh, here we go. Let's bring this guy to the front. Get over there. This is the video. I've infiltrated organizational signal groups all around Minneapolis with the sole intention of tracking down federal agents and impeding, assaulting, and obstructing them. Can you imagine if we did this in Ottawa? Like you figure out where the RCMP officers are, you go break into their hotels, you smash their vehicles, beat up the RCMP guys. They would have, I mean, they called the Emergencies Act anyway, but they would have invoked it even more harshly. What do we got next? My statement on the, well, that made it smaller. My statement on the horrible scenes playing out in Minneapolis and across America. This is from the former President Bill Clinton. And just before I read this, I'd like to point out that Ronald Reagan, after his second term, he said, he would leave politics. And he said that it's important for presidents to leave, and it's healthy for democracy for them to leave and not to get back. All of this shit that you see happening right now with this, the just unprofessionalism, it started with Obama. Obama was not supposed to weigh in and say that Donald Trump won't be president because I have faith in America. And he wasn't supposed to continue, being involved in politics after he left. There was a culture in America that presidents, after their 2 terms, they retire from politics. In recent weeks, we've watched horrible scenes play out in Minneapolis and other communities that I never thought would take place in America. Somebody actually put a picture of the burning of the compound when Ruby Ridge, I think it was Waco, Texas, when Janet Reno just killed a whole bunch of kids in there, burned them alive. People, including children, have been seized from their homes, workplaces, and the streets by masked federal agents. No, they're executing federal law. Your president, your former president, act like one. Peaceful protesters and citizens exercising their constitutional right to observe and document law enforcement have been arrested, beaten, tear gassed, and most searingly, in the cases of Renee Good and Alex Brady, shot and killed. They're impeding law enforcement officers. I mean, I don't like it when police pepper spray people for protesting peacefully, but these guys are impeding lawful arrests. All of this is unacceptable and should have been avoided. To make matters even worse, at every turn, the people in charge have lied to us, told us not to believe what we've seen with our own eyes, and pushed increasingly aggressive and antagonistic tactics, including impeding investigation by local authorities. Well, the local authorities are not cooperating, but beyond that, you're under investigation by the Trump administration. That's why you're coming out from retirement. Over the course of a lifetime, don't quote me on that. I mean, they've asked, they're considering it. Over the course of a lifetime, we face only a few moments where the decisions we make and the actions we take will shape our history for years to come. There's your incitement for insurrection right there. This is one of them. If we give our freedoms away after 250 years, we might never get them back. You might as well call Trump a Nazi. You're inciting an insurrection. These people, Donald Trump, man, you should have indicted these people. You should have handled this in your first administration instead of bending over for idiot neocons like Lindsey Graham. It is up to all of us who believe in the promise of American democracy to stay. It's not a democracy, you dumbass. It's a republic. To stand up, speak out, and show that our nation belongs to we the people. I mean, he didn't write it. This is probably Obama and him got together and they said, this is our last chance. We don't want to go to jail. Yeah, I'm just going to do a couple more of these and then I'll go to your comments, guys. I apologize if I'm a little bit agitated and animated. Over the course of our lifetime, this portion right here, as I've been telling you, Obama, Soros, and the Clintons are behind this. I don't know who Svetlana is. Yeah, it does. You don't need to be a genius to figure this stuff out. Like Obama was a community organizer. Clinton is just a career politician, I guess. But Soros is like he funds a lot of these protest movements. He funded a lot of the corrupt prosecutors. Over the course of a lifetime, we face only a few moments. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Do we have? Let's move McGregor further down. Okay, now let's get to the Obama one, and I promise that after that I'll get to your questions. Mike Davis, I don't know who he is, but he's, it's kind of a weak argument, but sit this one out, Barry, because of the whole drone strikes. The killing of Alex Preddy is heartbreaking tragedy. It should also be a wake-up call to every American, regardless of party, that many of our core values as a nation are increasingly under assault. Well, you have sanctuary cities. You're violating federal law. You're refusing to cooperate with federal law enforcement. This is absolutely absurd. And Barack Obama's panicking, so he's coming out. All right, let me see if maybe it's easier to read it like this. The killing of Alex Preddy is a heartbreaking tragedy. It should also be a wake-up call to every American, regardless of party. Federal law enforcement and immigration agents have a tough job, but Americans expect them to carry out their duties in a lawful lawful due process. They're making it seem like it's unlawful. Accountable way, and to work with rather than against the state and local officials to ensure public safety. It's not that they don't want to work with the state. It's that the state and is telling the local officials not to cooperate with the federal government. This is Civil War territory. I know people like looking back, we don't support slavery, but slavery was legal in the U.S. and the southern states. They would send federal marshals, well, not federal, state marshals to the north to try to reclaim their property, which was the slaves. And the northern states, the protesters would kill the federal agents. And Texas, in seceding, they wrote a letter. They're like, you promised us when we joined the union that, we would have property rights. And now you're violating that. And they were going down to the southern states and they were inciting insurrections there. They were encouraging the slaves in the South to rise up. Again, I don't support slavery, but it was legal. Slaves were considered property. The United States had property rights. They should have handled that through constitutional amendments, but then the Civil War broke out. For weeks now, people across the country have been rightly outraged by the spectacle of masked ICE recruits. There we go. It's the mask. It's a PR issue. But if it wasn't the mask, they'd pick on something else. And other federal agents acting with impunity and engaging in tactics that seem designed to intimidate, harass, provoke, and endanger the residents of a major American city. These unprecedented tactics, which even the former top lawyer, the Department of Homeland Security, and the first Trump administration characterized as embarrassing, lawless, and cruel, have now resulted in the fatal shooting of 2 U.S. citizens. Yeah, they were impeding law enforcement officers. And yet, rather than trying to impose some semblance of discipline and accountability over the agents they've deployed, the president and the current administration officials seem eager to escalate the situation. Man, you should stay resigned, man. You're no longer the president. While offering public explanations for the shootings that aren't informed by any serious investigation and that appear to be directly contradicted by video evidence. I'm not going to comment on that. This has to stop. I would hope that after the most recent tragedy, administration officials will reconsider their approach and start finding ways to work constructively with Governor Walz and Mayor Frey, as well as state and local police, to avert more chaos and achieve legitimate law enforcement goals. Well, let's get Governor Walz to cooperate with law enforcement. In the meantime, every American should support and draw inspiration from the wave of peaceful protests in Minneapolis. Peaceful protests, mostly peaceful protests, and other parts of the country. They are a timely reminder that ultimately it's up to each of us as citizens to speak out against injustice, speak out against injustice, protect the basic freedoms, and hold our government accountable. That's what they're trying to hold the government accountable. You brought in 50 million people. Oh, man. What do we got? Clown World. I didn't bother reading that letter. Same story, different day. Yeah, well, I'm not as fortunate as you, Clown World. I have to read these things to be prepared for these podcasts that I do. I had to listen to a live stream yesterday. These guys, they called themselves conservative. Maybe they were, but my point is, I'm calling them the right, and they were spewing off the left's talking points. If you want to talk strategically, like maybe Donald Trump has to regroup. Maybe ICE is not the way. Maybe covering their face is not the way. But my question is, what is the way? You could use financial war. So just hit these states that have sanctuary cities and say, here's how much it costs for 50 million illegals. We're going to apportion it across your state, and you're going to pay this to the red states, and we're going to invest it in the rural communities in the red states, something like that, or wall off the states and drop all the illegals in there. You want illegals, but I'm being tongue in cheek, but something's got to happen, because the biggest disaster would be if these illegals are not deported, then the next Democrat administration is just going to be like, all right, boys, we got this in the bag. Let's bring in 100 million voters this time. Tim, a space last night stated that if Minneapolis hands over their voting records, Trump will call off the goon squad. Not saying that's true, but it was stated. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. I know that they originally last year they were thinking about going in California and cleaning out the voter rolls. If you look at the voting system in America, everything is created in a decentralized manner. So they say that the states have plenary authority. So the states decide how they run their elections. And that's good, because you don't want a strong federal government. But now there's no moral foundation in the US. There's no integrity. And they're leaning into immigration to bring in voters. And they're registering illegal voters. And now you need a federal voter registry. And I don't even know if that's going to work, because then the Democrats come in, they have access to that. They'll just put all the illegals on there. So I don't know if there's an easy solution to this. The country is tearing itself apart, and I always blame the left, and I always say I don't like liberals. What I'm talking about is the urban centers. The urban centers are completely different from the countrysides, people that live in reality. The urban centers, because their salaries are relatively higher, and they have particular tastes, like their appetite is different, they want illegals to come in and do the work for cheaper. So if the guy can mow the lawn for 5% less money, that translates into one more drink at the bar, one more lap dance at the strip club. I don't know, one more side for their expensive steak at some restaurant. All of these artificial jobs, law, lawyers, accountants, bankers. I mean, maybe not bankers, but lawyers and accountants, like, and the bureaucrats. These are artificial. Like, if the government wasn't so big with regulations, you wouldn't need this many lawyers. And definitely, you wouldn't. Nobody hires an accountant because they see value in them. I've been agitated for 30 years. Agitated away. I'm sorry to hear that, Tim. I guess I look at you and I see myself in the future. It wasn't a shot at you. I didn't bother reading. No. I'm not saying that it was. Yeah, it's just it's frustrating. Oh, this is a good one. Here we go. I'll get to your question, but I just want to quickly go over this. This is from Elon Musk. Go up, come on. Justin Trudeau says, there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States. Workers and communities in both our countries benefit from being each other's biggest trading and security partner. Elon Musk is like, girl, you're not the governor of Canada anymore, so it doesn't matter what you say. Seriously, this guy, like, just sit down and shut up. Like, go hide out in a cave somewhere, and maybe in 10 years, it'll be safe for you to come out and people will, treat you like a human being. But the damage that you've done, it's game over. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy takes his own life, because he's destroyed the country. Everyone hates him. And I think he realizes now that he was used, because Carney comes in and Carney's reversing all the damage that Carney advised Justin Trudeau to make. This guy he's a serious depression. I thought I was depressed with everything going on. Don't worry, Jared exposing how the new Gaza will be a template for moving forward all cities sounds like a trap to me. Yeah, the Board of Peace is another thing. I think Donald Trump's done some really good stuff, like internationally. And when I say good, I don't mean he's going to get into heaven for it. I mean, in the sense that it'll help him win the midterms. It'll help, alleviate some of the debt, like getting Greenland, whatever you think. The American people support it, because if they didn't, it would be 24/7, protesters in the streets. And it'll get them some revenue, and it'll give them some bump in the polls. But domestically, I think he's shit the bed. Let me go to a Douglas McGregor video. And if anyone's joining me, the reason I keep closing and reopening all these screens is because otherwise there's audio issues, because StreamYard can't get its shit together. Douglas McGregor says, we are clearly headed towards the invocation of the Insurrection Act in certain places. An incorrect perception has been placed on ICE agents by elected officials that is constantly being regurgitated by the media. Very dangerous. Douglas McGregor, let me get Tim out of here. Douglas McGregor is one of the very few remaining baby boomer generation intellectuals that I still support. The majority of them have fully adopted Trump derangement syndrome. Douglas McGregor is critical of Trump when it's necessary. He's supportive of him otherwise, and he's fully objective. Everybody else, I heard one guy, I think it was Wilkinson, he came out and he said, George H.W. Bush was the last great president America has had. They've all been bad since then. And he was singing the praises of Colin Powell and saying how he was such a smart man. I'm sure there's arguments to be made. I know that Andre Martianov guy, I think is his name, he's also said George H.W. Bush was one of the last of the great presidents. But, you're completely ignoring the fact that, like, these same swamp monsters that were in that administration, they were in his son's administration. Colin Powell lied in the UN when he's talking about weapons of mass destruction. You can't just look at one good thing that they've done and then compare that and saying that this guy was supremely good and compared to one bad thing that Donald Trump's done. Anyway, here we go. Douglas McGregor.
We're headed towards the invocation of the Insurrection Act in certain places, because the way the media is presenting the enforcement of federal law by the ICE police, the federal police that are there to deal with immigration, is as some sort of thuggish, illegal, disruptive activity. And that's not true. They're there to enforce the law. And the problem arises when citizens are organized to try and disrupt the conduct of police duty. We have laws on the books. If you interfere with a policeman, whether it's directing traffic or arresting someone or stopping a car, whatever it is, if you interfere, you can go to jail. And I think that's going to start very shortly. Because when you're going into a place to arrest illegal aliens, these are not just simply people that came here illegally in most cases. They've actually committed crimes. In one case recently, the ICE officer stopped and said, "What are you doing? We're here to arrest pedophiles, people involved with child trafficking. That's why we came here." In another setting, a policeman stood in front of another person in Minneapolis, and the person in Minneapolis said, "Get out of my city. You have no right to be in my city. Get out." He looked at him and said, "I am from Minneapolis. This is my city. I'm enforcing the law." We have a serious problem right now with perception. And unfortunately, the media tends to project the image that these are all thuggish, horrible human beings intervening or invading neighborhoods to take perfectly nice people that otherwise have done nothing wrong and shouldn't be doing that. It's a lot of nonsense. So there's a gap between reality and perception.
Douglas McGregor is really a voice of reason. It's a shame he had sort of a falling out with Trump. He would really help the administration. He's mentioned this before too. He criticized Donald Trump and he said, you need to stop all of these, foreign wars, kidnapping, and instead focus on helping Kristi Noem. She needs more assistance. She needs more support because what she's doing is it's one of, Donald Trump got in for three main reasons. One was to no more forever wars. Second one was to, reduce spending and the size of government. The third one was to deport all these illegals. And this is really important. And he needs to help Kristi Noem. And Douglas McGregor is a very tough guy. He's very courageous. So I admire him for coming out and saying that, we're going to start seeing arrests for people who impede law enforcement officers. What he's saying is that's what needs to happen. And when I was joking earlier and I said every single ICE detachment should have a school bus following them, and if somebody impedes law enforcement, take that person, put them in the bus, arrest them, detain them, charge them. I don't know, whatever happens. Maybe they'll get a slap on the wrist from some leftist judge or the prosecutor, some Soros prosecutor. But these people need to show these people in a lawful manner that you can't do this. Otherwise, this is going to spread like wildfire, especially in light of what Obama and Clinton just did with those two letters. And I fear it might actually be too late. Before going to anything else or comments, which I will get to, where is the Insurrection Act? There we go. Just going to go over the Insurrection Act is U.S. federal law that empowers the President of the United States to nationally deploy the armed forces and to federalize the National Guard units of the individual states. It's called nationalizing the National Guard. I think JFK did it when they tried to desegregate, and one of the southern states was like, "Oh, I'm not doing it." And the southern governor brought out the National Guard. JFK's like, "All right, your National Guard? Now it's my National Guard," and he nationalized it. They do it for the suppression of civil disorder, armed rebellion, and as well as armed rebellion against the federal government. I don't know if this qualifies as armed rebellion yet. It is civil disorder. Whatever, even if it fits the case, the left is never going to accept it. Like if they start assassinating ICE officers, the left still would call them mostly peaceful assassins. Here are the cases where it can be called: when requested by state's legislature or governor. Good luck with that. To quell an insurrection against the state. It could also be for addressing unlawful obstructions, combinations, or assemblages or rebellion, which renders impracticable to the enforcement of the law. Probably applies. That's the one. To address an insurrection, domestic violence, unlawful combination, or conspiracy in any state which results in the deprivation of constitutionally secured rights and where the state is unable, fails, or refuses to protect said rights. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if that qualifies. Do I have any other one? Yeah. President John F. Kennedy invoked the act in 1962. Let me go to some of the comments. No, we went over that. The real social credit. Instead of spending 10 to 20,000 per person on ICE enforcement, offer 7.5 thousand for voluntary departure. ChatGPT modeling suggests 45 to 60% participation, faster results, less strain on courts, and 30 to 40 billion in savings. Carrot first, sticks later. That's a good suggestion. I'd never heard of that. I mean, first glance, yeah, it makes sense. We'll see if that works, or I wonder maybe it wouldn't be acceptable. How do you sell that to the public? Come to America legally, you'll get $7,500. If you make it here, we'll give you $7,500. JT has no remorse. He'll live that way until the end. Justin Trudeau. I look at him and I see a broken man. Like I saw him at Davos. He's just humiliated. He's ruined his legacy. He always was a moron, living in his father's shadow. But he just destroyed this country. And what is the other one? Somebody said that they actually tricked him right until the end. So Mark Carney gave him a budget and he passed on to Chrystia Freeland. And Chrystia Freeland, that psychopath, even she is like, I'm not supporting this budget. And then Mark Carney got involved that way. And people are wondering whether if that was just Mark Carney's way of screwing Justin Trudeau. Andre, thank you for reposting the stream. Bon matin, Andre. Alistair Crook is good. Yes, I'm mixing up my names, but I believe he's the older gentleman with the British accent, and I really like him. I would say I agree with like 95% of what he says. He's 5% is Trump derangement syndrome, but the other 95% he's spot on. Like he came out, and now I'm going in a different direction, but he was talking about Iranians, and he goes, the problem is that you have this Iranian expat diaspora that they lean into wishful thinking. So they want the Iranian regime gone, and they're going to Trump and they're giving them bad intel. They're saying this regime is on its last legs. If you simply, attack with a couple of helicopters, the entire regime will fall. And they fed him the bad intel, and thank God that Donald Trump, the last minute, he changed his mind. He's like, no, we're not going in Iran. Could you imagine? This would be another disaster we'd have to deal with. But yeah, Alistair Crook is really good. Tim, thanks for reposting the stream. Clown World, thanks for reposting the stream. If you're asking me if like the baby boomer generation, Nigel Farage, yeah, but he's a politician. That's not what I mean. A politician will say whatever they want. I'm talking about people that probably were part of the right-wing administration, the Republican administrations of Reagan, Bush 1, maybe Bush 2. And now they're coming back because Trump derangement syndrome has created a marketplace for people to interview these guys, and they come in and they're just bashing Trump, and they're deifying Bush Jr. and Bush Sr. and it's like, well, no, you don't like. If anything, I'm almost blaming the hosts. I'm like, you can't just keep bringing these people on and giving those bad presidents a pass. Farage is another Pierre Poilievre, maybe. All right, here we go. Man, I'm getting tired. It's raining outside. Okay, this one's from Benny Johnson. I don't know if I read this whole thing. New President Trump sends direct demands to Congress and every single Democrat governor and mayor. Turn over all criminal aliens currently in state prisons and local jails to federal authorities for immediate deportation. I wonder if this is what Tim was talking about. Trump will get his goons out if they hand some things over. State and local law enforcement must transfer all criminal aliens arrested by local police to federal custody. Local police must assist federal agents in detaining criminal aliens. Democrat leaders must partner with the federal government to remove criminal aliens. Congress must pass legislation to end sanctuary cities. That would be epic. All of these, but I don't know if do you really need to pass legislation to end something that's already illegal? Like not cooperating with federal law enforcement. All of these requests are rooted in common sense and will provide the best possible circumstances to make America great again. The American people, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read his letter as well. I think this is a good move, but demands to Congress and every single. But I mean, Congress has to vote on this, and there's a lot of rhinos. So Lindsey Graham, maybe he'll vote on it, but he'll probably ask Trump to drop a couple of nukes in some urban areas in the Middle East first, and maybe kidnap a couple of South American heads of state. I hope it works, and it'll go a long way to stabilizing things in light of President Obama and Clinton coming out calling for further unrest. If anything, he should demand Congress write a law taking muzzling those two. I sincerely believe that Payman's pooches should handle the chat messages. They're back there. They're passed out. Yeah. Andre approves. What else do we got? Yeah, Zero Hedge came out and said another insurrection call. So it's not just me, some far right extremist that doesn't like Bill Clinton. Zero Hedge says insurrection call. What else do we got? This guy's a pretty smart guy. Democrats want another summer of love. It worked for them the first time with George Floyd. If you're noticing a pattern, all of these people that they use as a justification for more rioting, they're all criminals in some way or acting criminally. George Floyd was legitimately a criminal. That woman, tried to run over a law enforcement officer. That's vehicular manslaughter. And then the third guy was interfering. Somebody else mentioned he was interfering with a lawful arrest. The ICE was dealing with some protester, and he tried to get in the middle of that. I'm sorry, man. Like, there's a fight happening at a bar, and you get in the middle of it, the bouncer's going to knock you out. Man, yeah, this is me last night. I saw this, and I was like, I know exactly what they're doing. The Democrats are making their move. Because I think Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, they got summoned to Congress and they never showed up. And Donald Trump is talking about arresting everyone for the 2020 stolen election, which ties back to Obama. I think Clinton and Obama, they just got together. They're like, all right, man, we don't want to share a jail cell together. Let's start a revolution. All right, a video. Let's see what this one is. Breaking: National Guard members from Minnesota under command arrive at the federal building. First order to distribute donuts and coffee to anti-ICE protesters. I remember RCMP doing this to Antifa, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I see what he's doing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't think it was my internet. I think it was StreamYard, but who knows? I'll try this one more time. I think there's a storm here. If this doesn't work next time, I'm just going to end it. And I'll do I'll do a second part later. Yeah, we were on this one. Yeah, if they refuse the nationalization order, I mean that could lead to civil war. But I mean, National Guard is supposed to adhere to federal law, but then again, we have sanctuary cities, so who knows? Here's Douglas McGregor again. Breaking writers now attacking ICE agents in Minneapolis. I sincerely believe Douglas McGregor is a pro law enforcement guy. Like, he's one of the few people that have the courage to say, you know, what ICE is doing is not illegal. It's not unlawful. Every other boomer, I shouldn't say that. Every other, you know, baby boomer generation voice, influencer, podcaster, or guest, they're completely ignoring this. They're focusing on how they've covered their face, how, you know, like they're goons, and they're buying into.
Get back!
That's an armed officer. I don't remember anybody attacking people in Ottawa. This one, I'll bring this up, but I haven't looked into it too much. Apparently, they attacked a hotel last night because there were some ICE agents in that hotel. And like, this is vandalism. I mean, this is beyond obstruction of justice or interfering with law enforcement activity. This is, you're trying to kill a police officer. I won't read what General Flynn has written. I haven't read it. And I think the next one is from Alex Jones. Again, I just saw this earlier today. Whatever you think. So the police officer, the ICE agent, his hand is bleeding. There's blood everywhere. Last night, hundreds of crazed lunatics broke into a hotel and began beating up the staff because the two ICE officers were staying there. After several hours, the two agents were able to push them out. Police never came. Trump must declare the Insurrection Act or pull ICE out of Minneapolis now. Okay. Now, I don't know if any of this is true. They beat up the staff. Police never came. I believe it, but I don't know if it's true. But he's right. Like, either declare the Insurrection Act or get ICE out of Minneapolis, regroup, and find some other way to deal with this, because ICE, they're not getting the support they need. And I have a whole bunch of videos queued up. We'll see. Look at this. Like, what if they had killed these guys? This is turning into Somalia. Remember, they killed those Delta Force operatives and burned their bodies and dragged them in the streets? Like, these guys could have gotten mobbed. And the Americans, you know, they're armed down in the U.S. Beware the Flowers. Thank you for reposting the stream. Let's go to some videos. Let's go to this one. These are videos. I get a lot of my news off Instagram now. The videos are easy.
Can we ask why you're out here today?
We're out here today because there is an ICE raid, and New York City is doing the work of ICE, protecting ICE as they do illegal work to tear families apart in New York City. And as New Yorkers, we're not going to stand for that.
Is it illegal to enforce immigration law?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Please don't touch the microphone.
Okay. Well, who are you?
I'm a reporter.
The rest of the video, it's more the same. The guy, like, no one's answering questions, but God bless this guy. Like, he's on the streets, he's doing citizen journalism, and you know, this is concerned American citizens that don't want another summer of love, and they're getting involved. I think they saw their country fall apart during the Biden years, and then the end of the first Trump administration. Clown World, that bleeding agent is a strange situation. How is he bleeding from what seems to be his chest? They're all protected. Note, I stand with us. I don't know. I'm not really good with this stuff. Let somebody else figure that out, but it's a good question. Let's see. What other videos do we have? This one, as briefly, I'm going to share this video. This one, again, it's more of this due process.
See, this is why people are so divided, because you don't allow people to talk. It's like so ridiculous. I am talking. I'm letting them talk.
But when you talk, you lie. That's your problem. Due process.
But what about the due process of people coming over our border illegally? That's
See, like it's this talking point that the left has used, and it seems to be sticking. There is no due process. This concept that the ICE is operating outside the law. And then the journalist, I don't know, he's using a tactic where he's saying, well, what about the due process that prevents illegals from coming in? Again, if you watch the stream from the beginning, I made that joke about ice cream, where, you know, you got a kid who says to mommy, like, oh, daddy gives me more ice cream. And the mom brings up this graph of every time that dad's given him ice cream versus mom, and mom is more. The kid doesn't care. What the kid is saying is, I want ice cream. This guy on the right, he doesn't care about due process. All he's saying is, somebody told me that ice bad, orange man bad. I want cheap food. I want, you know, my toilets cleaned for cheap. I like living in an urban center where I don't have to worry about rats and pests, and everything is taken care of. And you know, my Democrat mayor and Democrat governor told me that ice is bad. This is why I don't talk to people on the left. I mean, sometimes I have to. I go to dinner parties and everybody's a leftist in my family and circle of friends. And I just sit there and I have to listen to them. So at least I get some intel, but I don't engage them in conversation. It's pointless unless I'm asking them just questions, probing questions. This one.
So you know, well, I think they're arresting people who are native to this land. You know, the U.S.
In what way native?
Native, as in, you know, if they're arresting Latino people, they've been here way longer than white people have.
Like you can't argue with that. Like that's pure indoctrination. There's another video that's coming up again. This whole white man bad. When America switched from saying, you know, we came here and we conquered these lands to you know, we worked with the people that were here and we built this together. I think that's when things started going south. I didn't come to Canada because of anything other than the descendants of the English legal tradition that, you know, built sewage and plumbing and electric grid. But that's just a minor thing. I didn't know you had friends. I did. The key word there is had. I had friends. I still get invited to some dinner parties. That's where I get my most of my interaction with, let's say, the normies. Like I remember I was at a dinner party, and this guy is there talking about his son, and his son works in retail, and he's saying how like somebody came in and started smashing up the place and stealing all the clothes. And my dad turns around and he's like, what do you mean? That's illegal. Why didn't they call the cops? And then the father's like, well, if you call the cops, they don't do anything. My dad's like, what do you mean? Isn't that what the cops are for? And I'm just watching this unfold. I'm like, where have you two been the last like 15 years as everything is deteriorating? Like people like them caused it. And you know, these people all voted liberal. So they're the problem. But I digress. Prairie, I think the due process is I think that the due process is that there is a final deportation order in place before they go for them. I don't know. I mean, this is one of those things where it doesn't matter. And I don't know if you just joined Prairie. I gave an example of a kid wants, you know, it says to his mommy, like, I want ice cream. Daddy gives me more ice cream than you do. And the mommy busts out this graph that shows that, in fact, mommy gives more ice cream to him than daddy does. Like, it doesn't matter. The kid is just saying, give me my ice cream. You know, that it's a means to an end. So when they say due process, whether I think they're operating within the law, but let's say they're not operating within the law, that's not the point. They could just pick on something else. It's due process. It's they're covering their face. It's whatever sticks. No worries, Prairie. It's glad to have you here. Let's see what else videos we got. This one, this is the one where, like, this is what's wrong with, this is why we have problems in America and in the West, because of people like her who are indoctrinated. And when I say the left and liberals and people don't like it, they say, Payman, there's no left, right. I'm talking about the people that live in the urban centers. You can call them whatever you want, urbanites, lost souls. These are the people that are causing all of this problem, all the division in this country.
What do you think about the counterfeit selling and everything that takes place?
People are trying to make a living.
So you don't care that just law and order is not being upheld?
What is law and order?
The laws of the land being upheld here in the United States.
Well, what kind of laws?
See, this is what I mean. The child and the ice cream thing. These two people, they're talking past each other. This guy, God bless his heart, he's actually a citizen journalist, not a radical leftist protester. But he's just wasting his time. It's good content for me. I can laugh at this stuff while I'm getting drunk at night. But he's saying something because he has one worldview: law and order, rule of law, sovereignty of the individual, the primacy of small business, the family unit. And she's got another worldview: workers of the world unite, all white people bad. Here we go.
Every single law.
So the law to kidnap people for making a living?
See, right there, two things. One, due process, kidnapping. She's saying it's operating outside the law. The second one, this concept of dreamers, for making a living. So like, as dumb as these people are, even they can't lie to themselves and say that those 50 million people that came, it was the right thing to do. Deep down, they know it's wrong. So what they're doing is they're conflating two things. They're saying there's the 50 million people that came, and then they imagine, that guy that came 25 years ago and has been working here and he's made a living and he's got some kids here. They can't deal with those 50 million, so they just pretend like that one guy, that hypothetical guy, is every one of those 50 million.
They came into the country illegally, and ICE finds out that they're illegal. They have the right to deport them. It's not a human right to be here in the United States. It's a privilege.
Interesting. So how do you feel about your privilege being born into this?
See, like, his understanding of the word privilege is different from hers.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
How about your ancestors who came here and stole land from indigenous people?
This is like the last lady who said the Latinos are, they've been here longer than white people. This is just, they need to start teaching this in high school again. The white man came and he conquered. The British came and they conquered the land. There was a war, we won. Deal with it.
How do we feel about that?
There's actually a conquered war, and then they bought it.
ICE is kidnapping people?
Kidnapping, define kidnapping.
They're taking them off their street. They haven't done anything wrong.
There you go. Haven't done anything wrong. Like, a whole bunch of them, 60% of them committed violent crimes or crimes.
They came here to make a living because their countries are unlivable because of the U.S. imperialism that is happening in their countries.
This is like, it's almost like there's a speaker and a microphone, and the professor that taught her is actually feeding this to her, telling her what to say.
Stealing their resources, their land, their gas, their way of living. What do you think you're doing here?
I'd like to point out she's wearing a mask. It's a dead giveaway.
You said they're kidnapping folks. If they're here illegally.
Are they here illegally though? You don't even know that.
These guys crossed the border.
Who cares about the fucking
Illegally.
border? You guys cross the border all the time.
I'm at a loss for words.
Traveling.
Legally.
With the visa, legally.
Legally is not a quotation that we throw around and put on Hallmark cards.
Yes. Somebody gets to define the law, and it's never the people who get affected by that law.
This is I can feel that her overpriced university professor is speaking through her right now.
That's a complete lie. We live in a democracy. The only law is that.
We live in a democracy.
What do we live in?
Trump is in a fascist American
Trump
machine.
won the both popular and electoral vote. That is the definition.
Win the popular vote.
He won the popular and the electoral in
If
some
a
round.
quarter of the country votes for him and half the country doesn't vote, is that a democracy?
This is what I'm saying. Like, it's a waste of time. They're just talking past each other. She's already made up her mind. Like, she believes in absolute democracy. She believes in equity, equality, and all this Marxist rhetoric. And he's still living in 1776. Like, this is Civil War incoming.
What do you think a democracy is?
Every person that had the opportunity to vote had that was not taken away from them.
The video kind of ends there. Anything in the comments? That's Nick Shirley, who reported the whole Somali fraud. Oh, is that the guy? Yeah, good for him. I'm bad with faces, names, pretty much everything. Oh my gosh, stolen land again. Yeah, it's always in these urban centers. The urban centers allow these people to flourish. Like, if you take them and you put them out in the woods, it doesn't matter if you're in like a hick part of a red state, or if you're in some blue state somewhere in the middle of Oregon. If you live in the woods and you're worried about survival, like how are you going to heat yourself tonight? You don't have time to think about these things like, oh, borders are imaginary. That woman is not a white person. Which one? The other one before that was also not white. But yeah, but she's, you could take a white liberal, a liberal white woman with a liberal arts degree and place it in instead of this woman with the mask. She'd spew the same nonsense. We're offended, you're offended. What's worse is that these people are actually encouraging slavery and don't want to deal with the reality. Repeal the 19th. I don't know what the 19th Amendment is off the top of my head. I barely know I know 1 and 2. It is a form of slavery, but it's soft slavery. Like you're still technically paying him a salary, but it's disrespectful. You're importing cheap labor, is what it is. But they don't see it that way. There's a famous video. I wish I had uploaded it. There's this white guy sitting in his massive backyard, and he's ripping on all of the Republicans. He's like, all of these people talking about immigration. Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think mows your lawn? Who do you think folds your laundry? He's like, F you. And then the comment underneath is this guy, he goes, this guy thinks that everyone else in Canada has a maid and a gardener. But that's how these people view immigrants. They're just cheap labor. Oh, gave women the right to... I'm not going there, bro. I'm already pissed off as is, but I see where you go. What you getting at? What do we got next? This one.
Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights.
This is a good one. This is a little bit older. It's like a couple of weeks old.
Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Hey, wait.
Okay. This is an argument. The guy gets out of his car. I wouldn't have done that. I'm not even in law enforcement. That if that woman had veered in his direction, she would have broken both his legs and he'd have to get amputated. That's a mistake. But for the people that are out there pointing this out and saying ICE needs better training, this is horrible, this is bad on Kristi Noem, you're kind of missing the point, though. Like the cop is not the one that's the bad person here. The woman is. I just like to mention that in passing.
Ma'am, you're impeding with the federal investigation. We have you on camera. We actually have news reporters with us in the vehicle. Your case will be referred over to Homeland Security investigation for prosecution. You will be arrested. This is your last and final.
So she's panicking. She's hyperventilating. I guarantee you, she's another one of these people that got roped into doing this by that thing like the Signal Group, where they bring these well-intentioned, middle-aged women. They're easily manipulated. They bring them in. They say, this is how you do it. You go and you block off ICE and you follow them and you harass them and everything will be fine. And then she gets caught and he used the magic word, arrested. I don't know if anybody's ever had a cop tell them that you might be arrested. Like your body temperature goes up like 5 degrees. You start panicking. And now watch what happens.
And a warning. Hold on a second, guys. Give me your license, please.
I have kids. If you have kids, don't protest, or if you do, at least accept the consequences.
I tell you, you have places in danger.
Sorry, or if you do protest peacefully and legally and lawfully.
Put your vehicle in park and shut it off, please. I understand, but you are impeding. Look where you are at. You are almost causing an accident. You are surrounded by federal agents.
Contrast this American law enforcement officer with that Canadian RCMP officer that I uploaded at the beginning. Contrast this with that. Like the Canadian guy treated that woman like a dog, like a piece of trash. And they threatened her. They smacked the phone out of her hand. They said, if you come back, we're going to arrest you. Whereas this guy, he is treating this woman like a human being. This is a message I've been saying ever since, this whole COVID fiasco started. And I've been down to the US a couple of times. In America, the law enforcement outside of the big cities, which is a whole different scenario, they treat people with dignity. They treat them like human beings because they still believe in this thing called God. They believe in the sovereignty of an individual. In Canada, they don't do that. They treat you like trash. Try going through the border crossing anywhere in Canada. Contrast on the way down, they're tough in the U.S., but they treat you respectfully. On the way up, they treat you like an animal.
Okay, I am the Deputy Field Office Director here, ma'am. Stand by, we're running the name. We're going to refer this case over for enforcement action.
I'm just a mom, please.
Got it?
Please, I'm just a mom, please. I'm just
Kylie?
a mom. Yes, please, I'm just
She's got a whistle. They do that too. They got this. It's like a rape whistle. They see ICE, they blow it. They're supposed to bring all these protesters to get involved with impeding law enforcement.
Or just you turn around and get out of here.
I'm getting out of here. I'm getting
Here
out
you
of
go.
here. I'm getting
Slow
out
down.
of here. Yes, yes.
Hey,
I'm getting out.
guys, I got it. I got it. Got it. Everybody break away. Everybody break away.
I'm going home.
Good on him for telling the other ICE agents to back off because the woman was going to have a heart attack.
Kylie, look at me. Quiet. Look at me. Take a deep breath. Okay? I need you right now. Take a deep breath. I want you to pull over right here and go home.
I don't remember the RCMP officers telling that woman in Ottawa to take a deep breath and, I'll impede traffic. I'll let you go home. They threatened her and they basically acted like bouncers or goons.
Okay? Take a deep breath.
I'm shaking.
You may leave. Please turn around. I'm going to stop traffic for you. Go. Okay?
New York moving.
You're okay, Kylie. Everybody break away. I got this. Everybody go.
Obviously, it's Oregon. Andre, thanks again for reposting. Sunshine, I was taught to stay far, far away from any police operation. Yeah, it's common sense. This is not something that you're supposed to do. Most people understood these things. Yes, I have, and it's freaking scary. Yeah. When a police officer tells you might get arrested, they don't even have to use the word. They just have to imply it. Be like, wait a minute, your driver's license. When did it expire? Your passport expires in a month, but you're out of the country. These little things, and you're like, holy crap, I'm going to jail. The liberals are always hyperventilating. That's a good one. Sunshine. I had 4 cops surround me at 4 a.m. over a jewelry heist. Getaway car was same as mine. Guns aimed at me on all 4 sides. Jesus Christ. But the only thing I'm thinking is like 4 sides that one of the cops is going to shoot the other cop. Yeah, that's pretty terrifying. I was coming up to Canada through the border, and when I don't shave, I have a Ford F-150 truck. I got the dogs, and there's all sorts of equipment in there. And when I don't shave, I look like a Mexican mule, like drug cartel member. They took me back, and they are so unprofessional. Like I always have a pocket knife with me. They're like, take everything off. I'm like, I have a pocket knife. Where do you want me to put it? How do you want me to remove it? I have a security background. And then next thing I know, there's like 2 people breathing down my neck behind me. And it's they do it on purpose, and they do it because they can get away with it. And what they want to do is put you out of your comfort zone, but they go really crazy after a while. I've dealt with the OPP several times for different reasons. They were always respectful. I guess it's on a case-by-case basis. In my case, I find the interactions with police officers that I've had have been overwhelmingly aggressive. Whether I'm getting a speeding ticket, a ticket for talking on my phone. I remember I was in Manitoba. I was speeding, and the cop, like the way he came out to me, and he goes, "You were speeding. I'm doing you a favor. There's moose or deer or whatever up and down this road. So consider yourself lucky." And I'm just like, oh, fuck off. Give me the ticket, man. I'll drive as fast as I want. The real social credit. This recent post from this morning will be of interest. I can't open that. I just don't have the ability to copy text. Yeah, the right for women to vote. I'm not going there, bro. Let's see what this is.
No! No! Stop! Stop!
I'm just gonna stop that right there. I don't know. This might be AI. It looks a little blurry. But this rape whistle thing, blowing the whistle, this is all coordinated. It's probably all coming out of that signal group or things like that, where they're teaching how to maximally interfere with law enforcement. Oh, you're looking like Mexican drug mule. I'm telling you, man, you should see. And it's just the way I dress. I look like a mule as well. I got like this big belt, the clothes I wear, the hat I wear. You know. Let's see what else we got. There's a couple more videos. Then I guess I got to get on with my actual work. Which one is this? Look at this. The car on the left is ICE. The car on the right is a civilian. And let me get this comment out of here. Watch what the reaction from the crowd. They're saying that ICE caused that crash.
Hit and run! Hit and run!
Hit and run? They're fucking law enforcement, man. They don't have to run. Even if the law enforcement's the one to blame, they'll get and change insurance papers. But these are the protesters that are impeding law enforcement. This is absurd. This is like punching someone in the face and crying victim.
Hit and run! Hit and run! That's a hit and run! Hit and run! Hit and run! Yeah. Look, hey, watch out with that weapon!
Watch out with that weapon, man. Guys got guns. Cops got a gun drawn. Don't get the hell out of there.
Weapon! Yo, watch out! What's wrong with you? You hit it! You hit her! Yo! What's wrong? You hit her! You hit her! You guys hit her! You guys hit her! What's wrong with y'all?
I think this is one of the things where the people have a problem because they're dressed in like military fatigues. So ICE could just rebrand. You know what they should do? Kristi Noem should make everybody wear like trans colors, you know, the trans flag, or like come out like a furry. Maybe that'll shut some of these leftists up. But I don't know why they decided to go with military fatigue. In any case, it does feel like this is a war. Like you're dealing with people that don't want you. This is like Afghanistan, where the U.S. Army is trying to quell an insurrection.
Y'all bust a whole U-turn in the middle of the street. Y'all hit her. Y'all on camera. Leave her alone. She ain't even do shit. She trying to go to work. She's trying to go to work.
What do you mean she's trying to go to work? She rammed a police officer's vehicle, and now she's not getting out of the car.
No, what? Crazy shit. Y'all some crazy. Y'all got no heart, for real. No heart. No heart.
The other thing, pulling somebody out of a car when they don't want to pull out is very difficult. If anyone's done any martial arts, things that seemingly they're very simple in the movies, like turning somebody over when they're on the ground, it's very difficult. So this woman, like, again, I guarantee you in the signal group, they said, if they come to arrest you, like, don't leave the car willingly. Have them drag you out. It increases the impact value of the video.
She's a female.
She's a female. Well, you rammed a police officer.
You guys hit her. How you guys gonna arrest her? You guys hit her. Man, how y'all gonna arrest her, Brad?
Nazi. There you go. They called them Nazis.
Oh, bogus as fuck.
Look at this guy with the camera. It's just absurd. Blur the feet. Yeah, probably people cutting this out, putting it on for like foot porn fetish videos. Idiots playing chicken with trained killers. Yes. You're joking, but people might say that your comment is insensitive, but that's exactly what you're doing. Like they're agitating people with weapons, and these guys have weapons training, and you're playing with their lives. Like, I don't think people understand how dangerous it is for like a car could come and plow through all those ICE agents right now, and I wouldn't be surprised because think of what they did with Charlie Kirk. Like they take these people that have mental illness, and they encourage them, they motivate them, they incentivize them to do these sorts of stupid things. Yeah, going to work with bare feet. I think her shoes came off. Here's another one of these citizen journalists.
Trump's the fascist dictator, and how so?
Are you kidding me? He's taking away all of our rights. Freedom of speech, freedom to protest. He's disappearing people off the streets in America.
Is he going to come? You guys are protesting right now. Is he going to come sweep this up, you think?
He could.
It looks like you have the freedom to protest right now today.
Well, for right now, I do. Knock on wood.
This was a fascist dictatorship. Do you think this could happen?
Have you seen the news headlines about people disappearing off the streets, being kidnapped?
There you go. Due process. There's no due process. They're, as Colonel McGregor said, they're misrepresenting this on purpose to the media, and these people will believe it.
Being arrested by ICE?
No, kidnapped. Arrest is when you have due process.
There you go. Due process. That's the magic word. It's just, it's spreading like wildfire. I'm not going to play the rest of the video. It's just idiot woman and people talking past each other. It's just exhausting. This woman, I don't know why they're arresting her. She probably tried to kill another law enforcement officer. Another tactic that they teach people, they specifically women. It's a lot easier to use women. Like all they have to do is scream or say, you're hurting me, and men just feel more sympathetic to women. So she's saying, I have a mental illness.
Move my car! Ah! I am disabled! I have a brain injury!
Well, yeah, no doubt you have a brain injury. You tried to ram the police officers.
Stay back! I am autistic and I have a brain injury! Put me down!
I guarantee you in that signal group, they tell them, like, don't leave your car willingly. Scream, say that you have a brain injury. Say that you were, I don't know, assaulted as a child and abused as a child. Like these little things to garner sympathy. I'm not going to play the rest. This is just... This one, not really related to the protest, but he's asking this woman fascism. It's kind of funny.
Why are you out here protesting?
My name's Michelle, and I'm out here protesting because I'm against fascism.
Okay. What is fascism?
Fascism is words hard. Fascism is the authoritarian. Why are words so hard right now? Sorry. Fascism is an authoritarianism that is about focusing on one demographic, right? So it's...
There's that saying, don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
I'm out of breath now. So it's taking over and excluding the people, excluding smaller demographics, and it's squashing opposition, right? So it's a regime that takes over for themselves and not for the actual people. This is supposed to be a democracy that is for the people, but this is just for them, and that's what fascism is.
She kind of salvaged it at the end, but just brainwashed people. What do we have in the comments? JT, I've seen comments correlating this to the Freedom Convoy. False equivalency. The Freedom Convoy wasn't interfering with ongoing police investigations. Let me, I'm going to bring up that video again. I don't know if everybody was watching from the beginning, but I have a video of Ottawa. Where's the video of Ottawa? I wonder if it's on my X profile. As you can see, I'm very well prepared today. Come on, man. I'm already in a bad mood. Just give me what I'm looking for. There we go. All right, let's share this.
Are you here partaking?
I just want to get a coffee, okay?
Why
Can I
is the
get a
camera
coffee?
in my face right now? Are you here partaking?
You walk
Right
up
now
to
you're
me.
in the red zone?
I'm scared. I
You're in the red zone. I don't... Is this Baghdad?
want to go for a coffee down there. Can I go for a coffee?
Still being arrested
Pardon?
right
Do you
now.
live in this?
You're not excluded.
This is the exact same treatment I get when I go through the border in the US. You know, they crowd you, they bombard you with questions, they cut you off, and they play this good cop, bad cop. So the bad guy insults you, offends you, and, you know, like it's just your natural instinct to try to defend yourself, and you escalate, and then they beat the crap out of you. It's never happened to me.
Here, but I'm Alberta.
Time for you to leave.
Yeah, good call. Back up. Where do you live? Alberta. Time for you to leave.
Can't even go down there for
No,
coffee.
no,
Go grab your
you're
stuff
in the
and
red
leave.
zone right now. If you don't leave right now, you will be arrested. Do you understand me?
I can't go for a coffee.
Grab your stuff. If we see you, we'll be patrolling all day. If we see you again, it'll be different.
Like all they had to do was just let her walk away, and I don't know if it's necessary for him to, smack the phone out of her hand.
Leave. I tell you, take your camera and get out of here. Do you understand that? I'm walking away. Walk away. Your phone doesn't need to be in our face when you're walking away. Go.
Your phone doesn't need to be in our face when you're walking away. Anyway. JT, I wanted to bring this up. The Freedom Couple, we weren't interfering with ongoing police investigations, but the lesson that I take away from this is that if you follow the law and you're a law-abiding protester, you get punished. If you violate the law, you get rewarded. Like, these guys are ramming police vehicles, and nothing is happening to them. They're putting police officers' lives at risk, and nothing is happening to them. They're impeding law enforcement, and nothing is happening to them. We were protesting peacefully, and we got our bank accounts frozen. Like, that's the lesson. And this is why I'm saying, like, whatever mistakes ICE is making, they're tactical mistakes, and they gotta fix that. But ICE has to complete this mission. If it doesn't, the next Democrat president's just going to be like, all right, gentlemen, we have our precedent. We can bring in as many people as we want. They will be our voters. Next time we'll bring in 100 million. Maid could be helpful for who? Have you watched the news? Have you watched the news? First mistake. Yeah, that's a good point. Women and children allow the media to play the compassion card. Yeah. It's just what it is. Men like, they're more compassionate towards women. Don't know what that is. That's painful. Read a little Giovanni. I guess that's a girl woman that couldn't answer what fascism is. Made for thee, but not for me. Not all cops are bad. Speaking from experience, also pretty sure that cop was OPS, Ontario Police Services. Yeah, I don't know what he was, but he wasn't. I interacted with a couple. I went to Ottawa. I got there a day after the roundup, and I saw some Ottawa police. Okay, I don't know if OPS is Ottawa Police or Ontario Police. I guess OPP is Ontario. I talked to some Ottawa police officers. They weren't bad. I got the impression they were ashamed of themselves, and they got sidelined, and they brought in some more ruthless thugs. So I'm sure there are good ones. Ottawa Police Service. Okay, well then that wasn't a bad Ottawa Police Service. I saw a good Ottawa Police Service. Here's another video. I swear we're coming to the end, guys. I promise. It's 5 seconds. So I don't know if this is AI because it's kind of blurry. Look, if you bang your head on the ground, it's very dangerous, right? But if you approach a police officer that's trying to get away, they're in their car and they're trying to move away, and you're preventing them from getting in the car and moving away, like, something bad's going to happen, and also don't do it in flip-flops. Don't fight the police in flip-flops. You see, the Ontario Supreme Court reduced a black woman's criminal sentencing because she's black, and apparently didn't know that leaving a baby in a bathtub could have them drown. I did not see that. Jesus, oh my God, DEI is getting out of control. Here's another video of people thinking that they can have conversations with people who live in the
President
city.
Trump says he's stopping immigration from Somalia. What are your thoughts about that?
We need immigration as a country. It's insane, the arbitrary stops that he's putting in on all these countries.
You think America should accept in third world immigrants? He shouldn't stop it?
Always have. We should.
Let me ask you, we're trying to find people to take in a migrant from Somalia. Would you be able to give us just your email and how many you would like to take?
I wouldn't be available to do that at this time.
You wouldn't be available?
No. I live in Michigan. I can't do that right now.
Okay. I mean, we could send them to Michigan if that's all right. We're just trying to get, you don't want to do it?
Not at this time.
President Trump said.
Yeah, I love that tactic. You know, they want to have immigration to come in, but they don't want to have to pay for it. I was on Sue Dyer's Space yesterday, and I made a sort of similar argument for solar panels. I'm on a big tract of land here, and I'm thinking about putting some solar panels out here. But if you put solar panels, you have to either find a spot where there's no trees around it, so there's no shade, or you have to cut the trees down. And then the solar panels you do put down, nothing will grow under it. Like all the grass will die; it'll just turn into dirt. So if you wanted to grow food, you can't do that anymore. If you wanted to plant grass and sell the sod, you can't do that. If you want to have cattle to graze, they can't graze. There's a trade-off. When you live in the big city, there's this magic thing called an electric outlet, and you just assume, you know, the electricity comes out of there, and then somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if we had solar panels and you know everything will be clean energy?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, let's totally do that," because you compartmentalize those two. If you don't feel the consequences of your actions, bad things happen. And the same thing with this guy. He wants unfettered immigration. Immigrants are our strength. Like, okay, would you like to adopt an immigrant? He's like, not at this time. Here's another one. It's more impeding of law enforcement. I really hope the Americans, I mean, I don't really have faith in Canadians. They're just spineless. They're like wet noodles. But Americans, they have grit. I hope they stand up and they rally behind this administration and say, no, the law of the land, you know, it's the highest law in the land. It has to stand, and we want law and order. Donald Trump, go in and do whatever you have to.
That's how you handle these people.
You have any questions?
I asked if y'all got a warrant and if I could see it. He said no.
So because you're not related to this person, we don't have
Okay,
to
well, I'm here to just observe. I have within my right to do so.
But all that noise, all that stuff like that, you're impeding our investigation.
I don't know what you just said. I don't speak Spanish.
I'm not speaking Spanish.
I just heard your Spanish accent. I don't know what you said. You're speaking entirely too fast. I don't really want to engage with you, honestly.
Just me.
I'm just letting you know I'm here.
It's for you to understand. Whistling, making all this noise, impeding our investigation.
How is blowing a whistle
Listen.
impeding?
How is blowing a whistle impeding? Well, the only reason you're blowing the whistle is because you're there to impede their investigation. Again, this is all coordinated through probably the signal group, or somebody told them that. This is, you know, more ordinary people don't behave like this at all.
Listen. I'm done talking to you. You can get out of my face.
Why are you even there, lady? Let's see what this is. This is gold.
Do not break my fucking window.
Do not break my window. This is, again, the tactic of get arrested, but don't leave, you know, resist arrest. Don't leave your car willingly, to make them drag you out, to make them look, you know, aggressive.
And two, the John is looking at is a black.
Get out of the fucking, get out of the car. Put the car park, get out of the car. Put the car park, get out of the car.
This is one of those things. I mean, you got to bring that ICE agent in and say standard operating procedure. Like, don't yell at them too much.
Get out of the car.
Virginia, TDN. You know the Marine Corps veterans.
I don't care what you are.
Look at this. She gets on the passenger side. Again, all they have to tell him is, like, you know, don't drop F-bombs unless necessary.
Get the fuck out of the car right now. Get the fuck out of the car, please.
I mean, the left loves this. They'll eat this up. They'll say, oh, you know, this guy's an aggressive law enforcement officer. Well, why are they arresting her in the first place? She's following them. Who the hell follows cops? Canadians are not wet noodles. I don't appreciate that. I know, but like they don't stand up for anything. The Americans, they have a more vibrant political environment. They actually stand up. Canadians, what do they call the British Columbians, the Lower Mainland? They used to call them lotus eaters. You know, land of the lotus eaters. Life is good. You just have your backyard vino. Government knows best. Hard noodles with no spine. Then, do you have blue hair? Get out for what? Why? Well, presumably they were following him, the police officer. I don't know where this was. It's not Minneapolis. It's in the summertime somewhere. But like, who the hell jumps on a police officer's vehicle? And in doing so, why would you assume that outcome would be anything other than you getting arrested or run over?
Hey, man, what? Whoa! Hey, what's your down? You just hit me? You fucking ran me off?
Oh, hell no. Oh my God.
These people are crazy. JT, I don't understand what you're saying. The CIA follows cops and progressives and white knights. I don't understand. I think we got 2 more videos. This one is Minneapolis, Minnesota is turning into Portland with Chad, if you remember that, the autonomous anarcho chaotic zone.
These people are insane.
We're just letting them know, and they. Right. Get in your truck. Get the fuck out.
Guy looks like the psychotic homeless guy everybody has to deal with.
Because you need to go. Confirmed ICE. Get the fuck out. Confirmed ICE through who? We're American citizens. We're not.
Look at this. Confirmed ICE. Like, they're organized and they're figuring out who's ICE and they're trying to get them out of their community. Like, you're impeding law enforcement.
It doesn't even matter if they're ICE. It's America.
They've been following us.
It's a free.
But it's basically turning into mob mentality. They're going to end up lynching some poor innocent civilian. Soon the question will be, what kind of an American are you? I don't understand the question. Sorry. 3rd generation MPA Ultra kids. I follow a lot of First Amendment auditors. They follow cops all the time. I mean, I guess you could, but it's still it's risky. And if the cops if they see that you're following them, they might pull you over and ask you a question if you start screaming at them. I wouldn't do it. Chaz, where the first thing they set up was a police and taxes. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. All right, we got one final video. Then I got to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I got another podcast in a few hours, actually, with Mark of Canada Poly to talk about this stuff.
Doing? No, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? You didn't tell me your name, who you are, or nothing. What's the plate? Where you taking them? What's going on? Don't hit me with this fucking car.
I mean, it's just taken out of context. Like, I don't know if law enforcement is obligated to tell her who they are, where they're going. Says there's no plate, and then gets in front of the car and says, don't run me over.
Car, I swear to God, you better not hit me with this fucking car.
Then get the fuck out of the way.
What's going on? You better not get your where's your grandma? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You better not hit me with that car. You better not hit me. Tell her call the police. Tell her call the police. Call the police. Call the police. Cause you better not hit me with that fucking car. I swear to God. Help!
This is horrible. Like, can you imagine being married to this woman? It's just completely unhinged. This is like the people in China that they do it in America too. They scam, like they pretend to get hit by a car and then they roll around on the ground. Like, you're putting yourself in front of the car so they can't move, and then you're asking people to help.
Y'all didn't touch. Help! Help! Why? You think you're going to hit me because you're a black driver? You're not going to hit me neither. You better not hit me with this car. I swear to God. Call the police. You better not hit me with this car. You better not hit me. They got Angel in the car. You better not hit me. You better not hit me with this car.
That's all I got, but my God, like, these people. the person that they arrested committed a crime. I mean, unless ICE is, in the business of intentionally arresting innocent people because, they're for shits and giggles. And this woman puts herself in front of the vehicle to prevent them from getting away. And then she's asking people to come help her, call the cops. So they call the police. There's police written right all over that person's vest. Don't answer questions to any cops. Yeah, you shouldn't, but they're very clever. That good cop, bad cop, they start threatening you and they start insulting you and intimidating you, and then you respond. And they hold all the cards. So at the border, they'll take you in the back and they'll ask you a question. They ask me, how much money do I have in my bank account? They can't ask that. And you ask them, do I have to answer that? And then they say, if you don't answer, it could complicate things. So you're thinking, I'm tired. I got another 2-hour drive ahead of me. Do I really want to call my lawyer to come here and I have to wait another 11 hours? This is how they get you. And then if you're coming in through the airport, they take you in the back and it's just, they're going through your bag, unlock your phone. What is this in your bag? Why do you have so much cash? And you feel threatened. If you say I refuse to answer that, they'll just be like, all right, we're just going to search through every fabric in this bag until you answer our questions. They sound so stupid. Yeah, they do. I mean, it doesn't have to be the black card. I regularly make fun of white liberal women with liberal arts degrees. We saw a video of that one woman that was Asian. But yeah, just playing the race card is getting tired. Same people screaming, defund the police, screaming, call the police. That's a given. Everyone they take has to be accounted for from the moment they speak to you. Body cams on all of them. Yeah, there's body cams, but I don't know what the law says. Like, I'm assuming if there's a random arrest happening and I just happen to be around, I can't walk up to the police and say, what's your badge number? Show me your warrant, because I'm not involved in that arrest. I would imagine, but what do I know? But the body cam one is pretty interesting because at least with that woman that tried to run over the ICE agent, the left said that it was an uncalled for shooting, and then they released the body cam footage and it showed exactly what happened. She, the lady said, drive, baby, drive. And then she got shot. Don't try to run over law enforcement. It's because the Chinese were always bringing in over 10 grand. Oh, you mean how much money are you bringing in? Yeah, I don't want to go there. It's just that whole thing. That law has been around in the U.S. for a while, but it really took off after or it started getting enforced with Pablo Escobar, because there's so much money leaving the U.S. So they capped it at 10 grand, but 10 grand in like the late 70s would be like 100 grand now. But in any case, I put up a video recently in Vancouver airport. This woman brought just under 10 grand, like $9,500, and they still flagged her. It says suspected proceeds of a crime, because it was suspicious that every time she was coming into the country, it was exactly like $9,500. And it's easy to do that because the woman was an immigrant, right? And citizens generally care less about immigrants than they do themselves, which is natural. But my concern is, or my argument is, why even have the law? Like, if you have this law that says you are entitled to bring in 10 grand, or whatever is at the discretion of the officer, then there is no limit. The limit's basically zero. These things really piss me off. I was in Heathrow Airport once, and this plainclothes security officer walked up to me, asked me how much money I had. I said, I don't know, 1,500 pounds or 900 pounds. And he asked to see the money, and he said, I'll be right back. And he took the money. And what are you going to do? I can't tell him to go, pound sand. They'll take me in a back room, and they'll, add me to a list and say, you're never welcome in Heathrow again. Like, this is what I'm saying is, you don't own that money. They do. Even though it's physically in your pocket, it's still their money. Yes, use Attorney Shield in the USA. Attorney on call for all who are stopped by cops. New app in the USA. That's good. I support that. All right, guys. That was a very long stream. And now I got to go figure out what I want to do for the rest of the day. Thank you very much. 1:30 Eastern time. I have a live stream with Mark of Canada Poly. If you guys want to tune in, YouTube, Rumble, Substack, X, and we're just going to be talking about what's happening in the U.S. Mark is a very smart guy, and head on over to Canada. His daily news breakdown on Canada Poly. He does great work, and he's one of the few Canadians that sees what's going on. Yeah, how much money do you have? None of your business. Yeah, good luck. You say that at Canada border crossing, and you've increased the amount of time you're there for hours. Thanks again, guys. Take care.